application that fits all, and sometimes it looks like there might be some bias for those that maybe are new to the process, and maybe a misunderstanding of my intentions. I know that I talked to Evan today a little bit, and he's talked to the attorney, but I have an issue right now with, in doing some landscape, it was brought to my attention that I needed a berm. And after I had the landscape done, I definitely was familiar. I was supplied with the code, and it had no minimum, but it had a 3-foot maximum. So what I did is I went and spent another $2,000 and added 4 inches more of dirt to make it look like this. A little uneven. It looks maybe like an amateur done it now. It looked good before, I felt, but it is, and I'm all about complying, and I'm not asking for rules to be changed. I understand that, and I appreciate his job. And now, so I did ask, and I feel like I maybe had offended Brandon, and I apologize for that, because I did ask, well, if that's the case, why is it that other locations, Maverick, for example, no berm, not asked to replace, not asked to spend additional money, not asked to do a berm, even though it's code? I know that wasn't Brandon's project, and mistakes can be made, and I understand that. In my case, this mistake's been made as well. And I'm on this process now with this sign, and I have tried to make it come with the location, and it comes to find out that I have a couple of options have been submitted to me at this point. One is to bury some of it with dirt, so it's not quite as high. There's a 10-foot regulation in the city of a sign. Now, I know some are pole signs, and that regulation is different than a monument sign. And I was explained to that about 5 o'clock tonight by Evan, which I appreciated. But there's also monument signs. Smith has 2 of them. One's 11 feet, 7 inches. The other one I measured is 11 feet. Mine is 9 feet, 6 inches. And it's an electrical sign. It's cost some money. And I've put some time and investments into this building, and now it's prolonging the process. I advertised to be open in July, and we're talking about a structure that's electrical, and so I want to protect it. Now, my construction guy mentioned, hey, we need to get a pitch on this for snow and for weather and protect this sign. But in doing so, he made the appropriate pitch, and now at the peak, the apex of this sign, we're at 11.7 inches, which is now I'm being asked to tear off the roof, and again, spend some money over maybe 10 feet. There's probably a corner like this at the top that's maybe a square foot. So I've been at a point where I'm absolutely not asking for an exception. I'm asking for maybe a consideration to, as I drove down today, there is not, if I was conforming to everybody planted tulips so high, and I planted a rose, but there's not one sign that matches. And that's been kind of, it's Jiffy Lube, to America First, to Mine, to a sushi shop, to Taco Time, to a State Farm. Then I go, okay, I get those. Some of those are pole signs. So I go across the street, Smith's. I know they have more money and they're a bigger player, and maybe that's what it is with Maverick as well, and there's no berm. But their signs aren't 10 feet, and I don't think anyone cares. If I got a complaint from a citizen of North Ogden, I'd be sure to change it. I hate to rip off something that looks nice and I think it conforms. I hate to bury some of it with dirt. And I'm asking if I'm missing something, or if I can get some consideration to maybe on your way home tonight, look at that. And I've been working with Brandon a little bit, and I know it's a clear cut, and I get that. But I still have a chance. I'm starting to take it maybe a little personal, because now I had a business. I've been wanting to be open in July. I've advertised. I spent $4,000 in a Best Yet magazine 2 months in a row. I have people from North Ogden calling me for appointments. I'm putting them off every month. And what's holding us back is this 1 foot, 5 inch peak on a sign. In fact, as I talked to Brandon yesterday in his office, I asked him a direct question, and that was, hey, is this going to affect my final? I'm willing to cover up the sign, not use it. Cover it with a plastic bag, with burlap. I don't know until we figure it out. But I have a final inspection so I can have occupancy and start seeing patients that have called and needed care for Monday of next week. I was informed today by Brandon that, I'm going to go ahead and include the sign as a contingent yes on your opening. So I'm going to cancel that for you on my behalf, which He did. Again, that's his job. I'm asking for a simple, maybe a spirit of the law here. I feel like there's been changes, and there's Miss Kavanaugh's. I've walked down and measured hers. It's not 10 feet, it's higher. I don't know if anyone cares. I know you care, and I know Brandon cares. He's good, and he's dedicated to what he does, and that's his job. At this point, I'm at a loss. I just found out today I'm putting this off now 4 months from when we're supposed to be. So I'd like to, for the very least, be able to open my location and start seeing patients and offer a service that's really well needed, and not have that sign be an issue to stop me from getting a final and occupancy and get going on that, and we can work the sign out. I'd also like to have something considered to where there's been exceptions in the past or oversights. I understand, not blaming. I don't even care, but it has been done. And the other option is I can bury half of this sign, which aesthetically is not going to look great, or I can incur a cost of ripping off a sign for a decrease of about a foot and 1 square foot of a foot. And so with that, I am very excited to start business. I'm an optimistic guy. Yes, it's getting to the point where, yes, I'm a little frustrated. My patience, my money, I'm investing a lot, and I really feel like I can bring a lot to this community. I'm asking for maybe a little grace and some mercy to consider big picture. And if that's a possibility, I'd really appreciate it. So thank you for allowing me to say a few words. Any questions for me?
So John, I just got a question. So my understanding is they've canceled the occupancy inspection, right, because of the sign.
Yes.
Is that correct? So the occupancy will not happen? Is that correct?
As of now, there's not a final that's allowed to be scheduled.
Okay. So is there a way we can, I know in construction, we do it all the time to where if a curb and gutter's not poured, we put it in a contingency or something like that until it gets worked out. Is there something we can do with the sign to do that so that he can at least start business until we get the sign thing figured out, or?
If the council would like us to, we have occasionally done a temporary occupancy that expires in 90 days while the process is worked through. If that's what the council wants to do, then we can do that.
I'm in construction, and so, and I've done TCOs, all temporary certificate of occupancies, a lot, and with all kinds of different situations, signage being one of them. And I would make a motion that we allow a temporary occupancy inspection until we figure out what the signage issue is.
So you can't make an official motion because it's not on the agenda. But
I just did.
I guess that's true. But if the council is in general in that line of thinking, then it's not something that the council has to approve. We can do that administratively if you're all okay with that.
My curiosity is, what is the difference with the sign?
It's
the big issue.
So when I was on the council before, we had a big thing on signs.
I remember that.
I don't know if you weren't, and it was before the Miss Kavanaugh thing. It was actually, it was after the Miss Kavanaugh thing, and that's kind of what spearheaded the whole thing. And I think we just set a limit because it was kind of that's what we were setting the limit at and the standard at. And then we've made some different provisions. I know where the dentist office is, down there by.
That's 13 feet. I measured that.
Yeah, and that one's because